Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. 50-year-old actor Vijay formally launched his party TVK yesterday, where he made his maiden speech. And he actually said that his party TVK would just not be an alternative to existing political players, but would be a primary force for change in Tamil Nadu. And now Vijay has joined the ranks of celebrated actors turned politicians in Tamil Nadu, which includes M.G. Ramachandran, Jayalalitha, Vijay Kant, and Kamal Hassan. But the big question is, will Vijay be successful in disrupting Tamil Nadu's bipolar politics? So we'll try and look at this aspect. And joining me now is A.S. Selvam, who is a senior journalist and also a faculty member at the Asian College of Journalism. So thank you so much for joining. We have S. Srinivasan, who's the editor-in-chief of The Federal. Srinivasa, thank you so much. And we'll begin with Mr. Selvam. That how do you see Vijay's plunge into politics? And the big question that what kind of change do you think his politics will usher in Tamil Nadu?
See, most important thing is people from cinema entering politics is not new. But for them, politics has been an integral part of their career. Therefore, if you're looking at somebody like M.G. Ramachandran, when he launched his party in 72, he had even legislative experience. He was elected to the Legislative Council in 62 and he was elected to the Assembly in 67 and in 71. And in the case of Jayalalitha, you have to keep in mind that she quit cinema in 77 and she entered politics in 82. Therefore, it's not studio to governance directly. There's a process in that, and a lot of people tend to forget the process in the case of both MJR and Jayalalitha. That is first thing. And second aspect is whatever we witnessed yesterday for Vijay was exactly the same thing we witnessed in Madurai when Vijaykanth launched his party. The same amount of enthusiasm and the same rhetoric. Therefore, at some level, people are hearing this rhetoric, and because this rhetoric is not new, saying that we are going to be alternative to ADMK and DMK has been the rhetoric which was used by Moopanar in 1988. That was a time when he invited Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi to visit Tamil Nadu 13 times. And but it proved that that was not the case. Later in 1993, when DMK split and Vaiko launched his MDMK, this was exactly the rhetoric. And later with DMDK, we saw the same rhetoric. Therefore, there is always a gap between rhetoric and practice. And the rhetoric and the practice, the gap happens because finally you are going to go and tap into the same pool of people to come and become your candidates. Remember, finally, DMDK, the person who was playing the big role was Bandruti Ramachandran, a veteran from AADMK. Therefore, at some level, what is this difference we are talking about? You're saying that we are having everything of the Dravidian party, barring corruption, which means you can't have a party which is model on AAP. AAP worked in a city like city-state like Delhi, where the plank was only corruption. Here you can't have corruption only as a plank. And the other key issue is you are not willing to talk about what are the bottlenecks. If you are going to have a hostile governor, if you are going to have a hostile center, if you are going to have range of agencies which have been captured by the union government, none of these issues are coming up. The autonomy of the institutions were not there. Therefore, if you actually look at that rhetoric yesterday, barring the rhetorical flourish, there seems to be confusion about how to go about next step. One thing which is very clear is that ideologically is having a distance from BJP because he says secular party is central to him. And he says that politically he is opposed to DMK, which means actually he's positioning himself as opposition to the party at the center and the party at the state. That much is very, very clear. But the issue is, are you going to be a spoiler or you are going to become a player?
Actually,
That's a key
yes,
question.
no, you hit it right. And in fact, I was coming to this question. Shriza, I'll come to you. That two questions. That first, how would you see his speech yesterday and this particular aspect of whether he'll play a spoiler or which party will he end up giving advantage to? Because if he's chipping into votes, it might just benefit BJP directly or indirectly. So how do you really see this latest development?
Yeah, so it's a long speech he gave yesterday, about an hour, was expected on the expected, not exactly on the expected lines, but we do expected that he would say something like he's going to be the alternate to the Dravidian parties. But he was a bit cautious. He didn't use those words exactly. What he said was, he never said that we'll be the alternate to them. Rather, he said we will be the prime party. We will become the number one force, numero uno. Those kind of things he was saying, which actually, like Panisalam correctly says, they're all just rhetorics. He's just saying it in different words, but he means the same thing. And the utter ideological confusion is there. I think Panisalam is better placed than me to explain what kind of ideological positioning he's making. At one breath he says, look, he used an expression in Tamil. He called BJP in a way very obliquely as fascist. So he says, if they are fascists, are these guys payasam, which means are these guys very good, which means he was referring to DMK. What he did in one way is trying to equate the two, which I think is in reality, it is not. You can't. I mean, these two are very different political movements. Somebody who's completely right-wing, basing his politics on Hindutva or politics, and here it is totally on social justice. And then he seemed to have taken bits of everything in Tamil Nadu in the past, and he's trying to appropriate the legacy by saying, naming various leaders in the past, like he named Annadure, he named Periyar. But he made distinction again. He says, I take Periyar, but not his atheism. And then he says Kamaraj, perhaps for his administration. So this is one formula which is being constantly used in Tamil Nadu. We'll take the best out of everything and then deliver something which is very different. What kind of this new animal would be, none of us know. But again, there is some bit of a confusion. I don't know why he suddenly brought in a historical figure like Velu Nachiyar. And he's a great freedom fighter. And this is the pre-formation of Tamil Nadu. It's kind of a historical. It doesn't fit into contemporary politics. So what was the kind of parallel he was trying to draw in? I mean, I couldn't make out. So obviously he's trying many things, but obviously the whole aim is at 2026, and he's aiming that. One more point which he said, that's a question which I think Panir ended his observation with, that will he be a disruptor or will he be the numero uno? We don't know. But at least he's trying to set the cat among the pigeons by saying this, that, he is open for a coalition, and those who participate in his coalition, he is willing to give them share in the power.
Right. No, but Mr. Paneerselvam, how? I mean, there have been many actors, and they've just fallen by the wayside. But what are the kind of prospects which you really see for Vijay? He connects with the women, he connects with the youth, and what is the kind of political capital which he will bring if Tamil Nadu has to see a politics of difference? If the people of Tamil Nadu want a change, what is the kind of political capital he will bring along with himself?
See, that is actually a misreading of Tamil Nadu that I've been saying for quite some time. For instance, when M.G. Ramachandran entered the legislature in 62, he was elected to the Madras Legislative Council. And in 67, he gets elected to the Assembly. And Karunanidhi enters Assembly in 57. Therefore, the idea is their politics was central and cinema was adjunct. It was not that cinema was central and then they came to politics. The only person for whom cinema was central was Jayalalitha, but that was when she was in cinema. But her last film was Nadi Tedi Vanda Kadal, which was in 1977, and entry into politics was 82. Therefore, we can't say that Jayalalitha is a cinema import. Somehow the understanding of Tamil Nadu at a distance is Tamil Nadu is the extension of studio to politics. Yes, people in public life also have a cultural or a cinema background. But people who are purely from cinema, the number of failures from cinema is more. Starting from legendary Shivaji Ganesan. Shivaji Ganesan was inducted in the party by Karunanidhi. Karunanidhi wrote a script for his very first film. Then Kamaraj gave him a place of importance in Congress. Mrs. Gandhi elevates him as a Rajya Sabha member. But when he starts his party, he loses deposit in all the constituencies. It happened with T. Rajender, where he was a failure. Bhakyaraj was a failure. Kamala Hassan, just look at the rhetoric of Kamala Hassan when he started Mayam. That was, I think, the only person after M.G. Ramachandran who could make certain amount of dent with number of votes as well as popular support was Vijaykanth, but that was one election. After that election, we saw a decline, which means the political process is not only about popularity, but also having a institutional mechanism. Unless and otherwise, Vijay moves quickly and creates an institutional mechanism, it's not going to stand up. This enthusiasm can evaporate.
Right. But Srini sir, he also says that he is willing to give a share of power to every constituent of an alliance. Now, what does that mean? Is
that is the one which we have to take it very seriously, because whenever that happens, Tamil Nadu has voted against it. Remember 1980. 1980 was the only time in Tamil Nadu where Congress and DMK had come to an agreement where both of them contested 50% and 50-50 was the formula. Tamil Nadu did not vote for such an arrangement. And if you look at the mandate of Tamil Nadu, right from 57, there was a clear mandate. 57-62 for Kamaraj, 67-71 for DMK, 77 to 87 it was ADMK. Sorry. Then it was DMK, ADMK. Therefore, it's one state which gives a clear mandate. It doesn't believe in this kingmaker playing a role. At some level, people of the state would like their will to be represented in the governance. It can be anybody. They gave that complete will to Kamaraj. They gave their complete will to DMK. They gave their complete will to Jayalalitha. And now they've given it to Stalin. And the only experiment in the sharing of power was in 1980 when DMK and the Congress formed the alliance on the formula 50-50. And that 50-50 formula didn't work.
Right.
Therefore, there is some idea of will of the people getting manifested in rallying behind one person.
No, but Srini sir, coming to you, 2026 is the year when Tamil Nadu will go to polls. So what is the impact which you see, since he's formally launched his party almost like 2 years before, and now he started talking about a certain change which is very unlike DMK and AIDMK. What is the kind of impact you see Vijay could have on the state elections?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. What you're basically trying to ask, what is it that lies ahead in 2026 as long as entry is concerned. Now, what I feel here is you have to see very much whether he just goes away after giving one long speech, how much he is going to be among the people. Like I think he was also trying to point out the earlier politicians who came from movies were not just mere politicians. They also actively participated in social life. They also were either part of assembly or a political process, whether it is MGR, whether it is Karunanidhi. He was actually, he scripted lots of things. Or even Jayalalitha to some extent. She went through various ups and downs before she established herself as a politician. Uh, you can take even remote example like Rahul Gandhi. He has been in politics for nearly 2 decades, but he was actually recognized only a formal politician after 2019 20 when he started his Bharat Jodo Yatra. Only otherwise people didn't take him very seriously. So what movies does here is that it gives an instant recognition, but then later the politician has to work hard to convert that. You have to have a ground force. You have to have and Tamil Nadu is a state where all at least AIDMK, DMK, even other parties are very strong ground force. They are cadre-based parties. You can't take them lightly. He has to constitute, form all those things, and actually hit the ground running. Mere speech won't take them far. It will only get crowd here and there. But he had to assert, and he also has to, like Paneerselvam said, the issues really facing the state, the federal issues. How is he going to take up those issues? He mentioned only NEET. NEET becomes slightly more convenient for him because he actually went and helped one, try to help a NEET victim. But other than that, there are other complex issues which we'll have to take up, and one has to see what position he takes and what kind of political minefield he covers in the next 2 years. That's going to be very crucial. But I think here he mentioned the power sharing more in the sense of trying to kind of, if you look very closely, VCK has been demanding some share in power in the DMK alliance. And probably he was also using this opportunity to hit at DMK and also try to say that, look, if Dalits are to be taken seriously, or shouldn't they be getting a share in power? And he was trying to kind of make an impression. I think that's how I see it. That's why he made that statement. And also others who probably feel that they are part of the alliance. It's a very strong alliance, DMK alliance, but they will remain out of power. That's a kind of So he's trying to force these parties, at least the DMK, and whether they are moved by this, I don't know, but at least he's trying to bring it as a conversation point.
Right. But Mr. Paneerselvam, do you see him breaking that revolving door in 2026 of AIDMK and DMK? I mean, once it's DMK, then after 5 years, you see AIDMK. So, do you see Vijay in a position where he can break that revolving door? Politics of
See, we have to wait and see whether you are actually emerging as an alternative. Here, the thing is, you are saying that we are DMK without corruption. If you actually reduce everything which was he said yesterday, it is saying that I am the original Dravidian party, but I am a Dravidian party without corruption. That is not going to take you anywhere. Because at public perception, things are not about corruption. Public perception is about what you are going to deliver. There are expectations, there are aspirations, there are decision to improve your quality of life, all those things. Therefore, this entire idea of the way corruption worked for AAP in New Delhi, it's not going to work for every other party. Because in every other party, the case is an interlocking public of multiple issues. Yes, corruption is one issue. Nobody is saying that corruption is not an issue, but corruption alone cannot be a plank. I can't say that I'm going to deliver, but without corruption. What are the other issues? How do you plan to work out? That's the thing which is missing. See, when it comes to DMK or ADMK, you have district level functionaries. For instance, even in that district where Vijay held his event yesterday, Vikravandi, which is part of Vilupuram, it has a very, very prominent ADMK person called C.V. Shanmugam. It has a very prominent DMK person called Ponmudi. And that is also the center for both the regional parties which have caste support, which is VCK as well as PMK, which means you are actually launching a party which is heavily contested area. In that contested area, when you're launching the party, you can end up being purely a spoiler rather than becoming a major vote bank in yourself. Remember in 1993 when DMK split and Vaiko started his MDMK, he walked away with 9 district secretaries. He had an institutional backing and he had an alliance with 2 national parties, Janata Dal and CPM were part of CPM. CPM and Janata Dal were part of MDMK. Yet they couldn't make a much bigger dent. That's the reason I'm saying that the will of the people of the state is very, very clear that they want to give mandate to one person and their mandate is never fractured. The mandate is never been subjected to governor calling somebody. The office of the governor had no role in any government formation in Tamil Nadu. 57 very clearly Kamaraj, 62 very clearly Kamaraj, 67 very clearly Annadurai, 71 very clearly Karunanidhi, 77 very clearly M.G. Ramachandran. Well, if you look at it, it's very, very clear. Jayalalitha's mandate in 1991 was unambiguous. Similarly, a defeat in 1996 was unambiguous, which means people of the state come up with a decisive mandate. Even in the parliament, just look at 2019 as well as the latest one.
Sorry, Mr. Paneerselvam, sorry to interrupt you, but there's one question in my mind, Srini sir, that 2 years is a long time in politics, and supposing if Vijay maintains the momentum, he sustains himself with a proper narrative, goes out to the people, reaches out to them, then can he become the Arvind Kejriwal of the North? What Arvind Kejriwal did, we saw Congress alternating with Delhi, and then finally we've seen a consolidation of the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi. Though the 2 states are not comparable at all, but does Vijay have the potential of becoming another Arvind Kejriwal as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned?
Yeah, you asking me?
Yes, sir. Yes, Srini sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. Look, that was a very different situation in 2013. And it was not just, again, one particular issue, which was corruption, though anti-corruption was a plank started by Anna Hazare, which was later hijacked. And even some RSS elements also got into. That's what the media reports clearly say at that point of time. It became a very different concoction. Also, there was a Nirbhaya case which happened. So Delhi was certainly on the boil in 2013. Also, there was lots of corruption issues which happened, Commonwealth Games. There were a lot of allegations which the UPA too was facing. So the timing was very different. The situation was very different. There is no such thing right now brewing in Tamil Nadu. You see, there is a certain anti-incumbency DMK might face. They are slightly unpopular because of various, as they are in governance, they do make mistakes, and people are they will punish them if they see that. But the situation is not the same as there would be some massive change would happen. I don't see any such major indication right now to suggest that like Kejriwal suddenly came from nowhere and got into power. But that's the kind of a thing which Vijay is trying to convey. But I see little possibility. Here, the politics is very well entrenched. It's, people look out very carefully about what the politician actually is saying as far as, 2 things are concerned. Tamil identity, language is one important, federalism is another important identity for them, regionalism is an important identity for them, and also identity politics. That also plays a very important role. which community. Those kind of issues are very significant. And it's not just one factor. All these multiple factors make into one issue. The other thing is about corruption. I think it's a very much a middle class thing that, very utopian to see that a corruption free society. But here, again, he's raking up corruption because it certainly strikes a chord among a whole lot of people. But then Tamil Nadu is a very strange case where people, while they go to polls, they do expect some amount of cash. So the cash for vote, it's very common here. Even the ordinary voter gets the money. That's a kind of a situation here, which I don't think any other northern state, anything at this large scale happens. So that's another mainstay of political parties. It's very unfortunate, but that keeps happening. So to say all this, and then what exactly he's going to do is a big question. So these are the issues one has to look for. So I take it, as something that we'll have to wait, watch, and see how what is the roadmap he actually makes, what he subsequently says, whether he's able to really make an impact among people. We have to watch and see that.
Right. Okay, so time will tell what Vijay can do for Tamil Nadu. Will he be a force to reckon with? And he's already started his countdown for the 2026 elections. So let's wait and watch as to what kind of impact he makes on the Tamil Nadu political turf. Thank you so much, Srinisa. Thank you so much, Mr. Paneerselvam, for being on the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to The Federal.